Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to the session. The topic for today's session is discrimination is subjective. It doesn't have anything to do with religion or caste. Do you agree or disagree? Right. The context is basically that there are like so many dimensions in which we are discriminating on the basis of things like racial discrimination, religious discrimination, caste-based discrimination, or there is also like colorism, like people are discriminating within the same race about the color of your skin, um, and there is like a class-based discrimination, there is linguistic discriminations, and the all of these dimensions exist. There are all these variations in all of these things. When it comes to the concept of discrimination as in you are like targeting somebody and disadvantaging them based on their particular attributes in a particular dimension, right? So this quality, it is subjective. Discrimination is not something that is inherent to the things that that distinguish us, but rather the quality of the person who's um, you know attacking the description. And honestly, this topic is I will admit that this is a little bit confusing to me. I was not really sure about like what the author meant, which is why I was like asking in the discussion in the WhatsApp group, like what did you mean? And I'm looking forward to like learning a lot from this session more than I'm here to like moderate the session. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to hear your thoughts, because like this concept is really sensitive, and I'm really sure that a lot of people have like very different perspectives on this. So I'm really looking forward to hear everybody's thoughts on this. With that said, I think we have a sufficient number of participants to go ahead. So yeah, HP, can go ahead. But before you HP, you start like just to let people know who are new to the session. If you want to speak, this is a turn-based participation where you will raise your hand, so that like you can get in line. So whoever raises their hand first will go first, and then like the next person to raise their hand will go next. So you'll each have like 3 to 5 minutes to complete your thoughts. Try to keep it to within 3 minutes, and then like you can come back into the line if you have more to say, so that everybody gets a chance to speak. So with that said, HP, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'll also request everybody to mute the mics. Maybe it will create some disturbance. Anyways, so we can debate about it in detail. I'll just start with two examples because it is caste based and religion based. There's one. Two. Okay. Anyways, so I will start with one example on religion based discrimination, which is not subjective, and then I will give an example of caste based discrimination, which again is not subjective. So I want to start with the first discrimination, this case that happened, and I'll also uh, give details according to with names, and to be, because this is a sensitive topic, I would like to refer exact dates so that I don't make a mistake. Okay, so rather than just saying it out loud, I will just read a bit. Okay, so there is the first case. This is called Kathua rape case, in which involved abduction and gang rape and murder of 8-year-old Muslim girl named Asifa Bano. Everybody would have heard of it, by upper caste, different religion males. And the context of it, as per the court in 2019, 18, the context of it, as per the court, was the victim belonged to the nomadic Bakarwal community, and the crime was a bid to terrorize the group of Jammu, so that to take them off, they kidnapped their daughter, and then they raped her in the temple, and then kept her body there. And after a certain time, they threw the body 1 kilometer near the house of those nomadic tribes, Bakawals, to terrorize them, and thinking there would be no repercussion. That was the amount of confidence. And why that confidence also came is very clear, because after they were accused, right-wing groups staged protests against, to support the Hindus, okay, the upper caste Hindus who did that in that area. Two ruling ministers from BJP that time, Forest Minister Lal Singh Chaudhary, Industries Minister Chandra Prakash attended the protests. Okay, so even if you see how it went on social media, there was this banker who let's not I'll elaborate it because it's a very huge case. It will take a long time, and as far as the constraint of 3 minutes is concerned, it won't be sufficient. So let me switch to the caste based case that happened. And the caste based example I would give is from 2020 Hathras gang rape, in which 19-year-old Dalit woman was gang raped by four upper caste men. She died 2 weeks later in Delhi hospital. And again, the same situation. The men who raped the Dalit woman were from Thakur caste, and that time current chief minister also comes from the same caste, and they supporting, I mean, there was anti these Dalit protests supported by Bajrang Dal, Karni Sena, and even opposition was blocked from meeting these people. There were curfews, and at start they didn't acknowledge the rape only, and then they said it was homicide, and then there were people who joined and started sloganing Bharat Mata Ki Jai in front of media and everywhere, and they said this is upper caste Virodi. These things are happening, and that's how they collected sympathy. So I would start with that it's not subjective. At least it has not been, as far as these recent 4 5 year incidents have happened. And I strongly believe there are situations where uh, people make it make an issue out of it. Sometimes there are many fake SC/ST cases lodged against normal people for not saying anything, and they make an issue out of it. But there are many genuine cases which cannot be shadowed. I'll like to contribute more cases if people want more examples. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, HP. I think, yeah, you made a really like a specific statement with your views. Basically what you're saying is that these discriminations based on caste and religion are not some like propaganda, that these things really do exist. There are people who really attack people based on their caste and religion. So that is your central point, right?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. All right, Prince, you can go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible, rather?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when we talk of discrimination in India, we mostly look at that with a perspective of just caste. But it is not just caste-based discrimination. It is color-based, it is religion-based, it is race-based, it is the place of birth-based. Discrimination, according to me, arises from prejudices. When we discriminate against a Bihari by simply calling him a Bihari and associating him to a specific occupation, and we discriminate against Punjabi by using words. We discriminate against South Indians because they're just a little bit different from us. So these prejudices mainly lead to discrimination because we as humans have evolved a lot, but the tribal nature of society is still there within us. We still live in that thinking where only our tribe or our community matters. When caste system originally associated or arised, there were only four castes, or I would rather say divisions. But currently there are 3,000 castes and 25,000 subcastes in the whole of nation, and that is just counting the Hindu ones, keeping aside the Muslim castes. Because these castes are just a way for humans to uh, give authority to their superiority complex mindset that okay, my community is better than others, and even if we say that there is discrimination against the lower caste people, then we need to zoom in a bit more into that, where there is a lot of subcaste within the SC or ST community as well, and the higher caste within those communities are not even willing to sit and eat with them. That is the level of superiority complex we have, that those humans are not even worth eating together. So, according to me, we need to entertain this psyche to remove the discrimination from the society, because there are certain prejudices relating to Northeast Indians, as in their dietary things and all. But I would give my personal experience that when I went to Kota, and I had the great opportunity to talking to a lot of Northeast Indian people. They were really great. They are like the best of people I've met throughout my life. So I guess we need to talk and converse and make sure that there is a way so that we can, kind of establish a line of communication to entertain this discrimination. It is mostly based because we have no information, or we have kind of installed certain prejudices against other people just because. Yeah, Raghav.
So just to bring the discussion back on track, right? I mean, the discussions about whether it is subjective or is it real? Is it just like a perception in the minds of people just because the media is spinning it out like that, or is it like something that is real? Right? That is the main discussion. And what do you think about in that regard? Like, I feel like you said a few things, but just to bring some clarity to what you just said.
Yeah, so definitely this is real, because, as I said, the castes are dividing a lot. We are seeing that people are not even willing to sit together and eat.
Yeah.
So these things do add to that.
Okay. And I would want like like we also like add that is additional point of concern, which is that how prevalent is it? Because like if you take India as a country, we have so many different diversities. Like there is so many dimensions of diversities, but also so many uh, diversities in terms of like how we look at those diversities, right? Like there's so much complexity in the society. Because like as somebody who grew up in the city, like I've rarely thought about the caste of somebody. But if you go to the villages, then it's a very huge portion of the public consciousness, right? So I would want people to address that as well. But moving on to the next person, Gomatishwari, please go ahead.
Um, yes, sir, I was the one who initiated this topic and
Okay.
came topic. So yeah, um, it is just subjective because it's the individual's feeling of superiority and thinking that others, those who belong to a different category, are inferior. It's that subjective thought. Let it be due to religion, caste, or color, or ethnicity, anything, and it has nothing to do by abolishing that particular cue for discrimination, that is that caste, ethnicity, religion, etc. Because no religion or caste mention that another person who belongs to a different group, or no ethnicity, people from another ethnicity, uh, rule postulated or formulated a rule, or no government from another state formulated any rule that another person or another group of people who belong to another religion or caste or ethnicity should be ill treated or humiliated. It's just that individual set. Even now, when the session is happening, we are we are openly speaking our minds. We didn't ask when the session was started. We didn't ask each of us about our religion or caste or what color we are, or from which ethnicity we belong to. We didn't ask anything. We just straight away started it. So it's that unity, because we don't show any discrimination, because we don't have that kind of a mentality that we are superior and others are inferior. So we didn't show this discrimination here in this session and this meeting. And the case studies which some speaker told about the rape cases of Ashifa and all, that is also that subjective thought of those um, culprits, thinking that they are superior and they are dominant because of the religion or caste, whatever they belong to. they thought it's the method, or it's the way to show their power or the dominance, because they had this mentality and this complex that they are very they wanted to show their power, thinking due to the differences of religion or caste. And that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with that q, whether it's a different caste or religion. And likewise,
Right.
college raggings that happen in college is also an example of discrimination. Mostly because in colleges, mostly the seniors will rag the juniors, thinking that the seniors are are ahead of the juniors when it comes to the academic year. So since they are few years elder in their academic year than the juniors, they think they are very dominant, and they can dominate the juniors since they are freshers. And that is also they think that is also a way to show their power, their way to show their authoritative sense. They think they just have a misconception about their about the position in which they are. And likewise, the case studies which someone said, the rape cases and something, that in that case it's not just about um, causing commotion or trouble in another person's life, like a stranger or an acquaintance's life. It's also about one's own daughter or son as well, when it comes to intercaste marriages or interreligion marriages. Their own parents, even in fact the own parents or the relatives itself, they have this willing to kill their own son or daughter because of the intercaste or interreligion marriages. And that is also because of the subjective thought. And yeah, it's not that only people try to humiliate or ill treat others, it's also amongst the family, also family members also, they are willing to show their aggression in order to um, express their uh, uh, authoritative position or power, thinking that this is what gives them the rank or higher position in the society, because of their
Right.
misconception about the caste which they belong to, or religion or ethnicity that they belong to. That's it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Gomatishwar. I think you set the context, like the reason why the motive for you to set this topic, because I don't know if you guys remember, but like in the WhatsApp group, like I was talking about, like please set the context, because I was not really aware, and I think I'm starting to get it. I think I'm starting to understand the motive behind this initiation of this topic, and I think what Gomatishwar you just said, like I think that is something that I think most of us will agree on. What you're really saying is that there is no fundamental hierarchy in all of these distinctions. It does not mean that if your skin is brown, or if you're white, or if you're from a different race or of a different caste or whatever it is, you're not better or inferior. These are just like meaningless distinctions. But the distinction of superiority and inferiority is in the minds of the people who assume a status of superiority. This is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I think that's something that probably most of us will agree on. It's basically something that does not have a strict hierarchy. But yeah, thanks for that. And Epsita, go ahead.
Yeah, so to Gomateshwari's point, I wanted to say, yeah, sure, it's subjective in the sense that it's people's perception. But then when people sort of get rewarded for their behavior and their behavior is appropriated, and that same kind of thinking proliferates in groups of people, then it definitely no longer remains subjective, right? Because people are literally like banding together to forward their perception. And speaking about everyone in this meeting, yeah, it's because our upbringing also plays a role in how we see things. So, in how we perceive things. And also, I interpreted this question as thinking that the question of like explicit versus implicit bias. So, implicit biases being something we don't really perceive even after introspecting, like we don't even realize we have it. So I thought of it in that way. And when we look at it in a like structure societal context, we also are not born in a vacuum. We all come into this world and then through osmosis absorb our perceptions and societal perceptions and prejudices and biases. So there is like a very long historical context for caste based and religion based discrimination as well. So it's not like we can completely ignore that and think that, oh no, it's completely detached and we can take it on as subjective. These atrocities have been committed for centuries, and even today people people of lower caste lag behind because of what was done to them in the past. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Also, like, we don't have to restrict the discrimination on the basis of just caste or religion. I think we can also look at this in a broader spectrum. So there are also like class-based discriminations, and there's like wealth-based discriminations. There's linguistic-based discriminations. People who speak English automatically feel superior to people who cannot. And then people who are born rich, and for example, this whole Pune crash case that happened, there was definitely a certain sense of like superiority exhibited by the person with the power and the money. And that also, like, it's a sense of like discrimination in there as well. And I would like to open up the discussion to like, broader aspects as well. But yeah, thanks, Akshita. Gomatishwari, go ahead.
And yeah, discrimination is not just insulting or humiliating the uh, like the lower category, the perceived lower category, because people think those who are dark skinned, many people perceive that those who are dark skinned, they are very ugly or something like that, and those who belong to some lower caste, they think they should be humiliated. That the target is that uh, mostly discrimination emphasizes on the humiliation of the lower caste or people those who belong to the people those who are dark skinned, like that. So it's not just insulting the perceived lower category, it's also praising only the higher category. Also, like people those are fast skinned are being perceived that they are very beautiful, and they are very gorgeous. And example, fairness creams. The advertisements in fairness creams, they think they show, right, that if you use this particular fairness cream, you will become more fair, and eventually as you use the cream, eventually you will become even more fairer than your original skin color, which is dark. That is also a discrimination, but just because no harsh words are used, it is not considered as a discrimination. And since it's in a very polite way, people don't think that is an way of insulting other people and discriminating others. And another one is especially reservation and cutoffs given by the government. People those who belong to the particular caste, the number of reservations and the cutoff marks are accordingly set for each category, for each caste and stuff. So in fact, scholarship as well. So first let me talk about reservation. So reservation, the number of seats. So that one, does it mean that people those who belong to lower caste cannot get a lot of seats in any particular education institution or any particular government job? So it is true, because to be honest and to speak the reality, there are people those belong to the higher caste or higher authorities. They have this intention to discriminate the lower caste people and to not give them chances to achieve a seat in a educational institution or a government job. But still, people are not against it. The general audience, the common citizens are not against that, since it benefits them. So it's not a discrimination when people are getting benefited by it. No one is talking or considering it as discrimination, since they are getting benefited. Only when something, like a problematic thing happens, they just voice out, or most of them just, they just talk about it on the social media, and then they don't take any action against it. So yeah, when it's something like a reward, when they are benefited, they are not considering it as as a discrimination. But when they're humiliated, they take it as a discrimination, and they say that we should abolish caste, we should abolish religion and other stuffs. And second one is cut off. So cut off, does it mean that this particular limit of marks, cut off marks, um, can we can only when we have this particular cut off marks, it is something involved with the marks that a person gets, which is indirectly the intelligence or the capacity to learn, right? So does it mean that mostly the lower caste people, they get cut-offs in a very advantageous way? So does it mean that the people, those who belong to lower caste, are less knowledgeable or something like that? Even that is a way of discrimination, but no one is talking about that since they're benefited. And the next one is scholarship. um, Concession in fees. So mostly caste based scholarship is also available. So does it mean that people those who belong to lower caste are financially very poor, and people those who belong to higher caste are very rich? This is also discrimination, but no one is talking about it, or no one is trying to abolish these benefits that are being provided due to caste. So yeah, reservation cutoff and scholarship. Only when it comes to massacres or honor killing, this kind of problematic or you know, these kinds of things, people want to abolish caste and religion. I know benefits are different and problematic consequences are different, but when they talk about equality and unity, they should be balanced. The people should balance it. They should not be having any double standards or be biased. So that's it.
Okay. I think okay, I got a little more context about your intention now. I think one of the points you raised with regards to, for example, the on the discrimination on the basis of color of your skin. There is like you may think that there is, we've been talking about like how the people of the superior or the superior distinction are the ones who are like, asserting this discrimination and all that. But if you look at the whole color of the skin, right, predominantly there is a bidirectional discrimination. Everybody agrees. It's almost like, even the dark skinned people and the fair skinned people, they both agree that fair skin is better. And in this case, right, it makes it seem like there is an objective criterion, which is that the fairer your skin is, that is an objective criteria. The fairer the skin is, the better it is. Right? It's not like there are a bunch of dark skinned people who are saying that they are more beautiful than fair skinned people. And there is not a movement. Even if there is a small number of people, it's not like a movement as such. So that is like an interesting thing to follow. It's like when we all believe in something that is false, it becomes true now, and that is a very interesting phenomenon. And you did mention a lot of other things, but I want to like let others speak because there's a lot of people in the line. So HP, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think everything as far as ragging and skin color and everything is important, and any discrimination is bad. But I think all of us are Indians and we live in this country. And when you have predominant, huge, big problems and issues that are very consuming everything around us, we cannot see it in cities, but these issues are not. We cannot put that anti-discrimination on fair skin and ragging and other issues in priority list. It is there, but I think the issues that we face on daily basis, the issues that are critical, where people lose lives, where we have election bases, the leaders come out on these caste based electoral politics, and everything is run in a country like ours. I think I remember this one joke from a stand-up comedian called Abhishek Upamanyu. He cracked a joke where he said somebody went to Mumbai police station and said, "Sir, isne mujhe kala kaha," and the policeman said, "हाँ तू काला है," because that happens in a situation when they have huge problems and actually they don't have time to these are issues that matter. But in a country like ours, the issues we face, lynchings, mob killings, communal riots, fights that happen periodically. Every 3 to 4 months, there's a fight going on in some place. We cannot equate them. They need a special focus in any kind of debate or in any kind of discussion if we actually want to address the problems. And again, to create an equality, okay, so you cannot filter out things with the same this micron gaps in a wo channi jo hoti hai. You cannot do that with 150 crore people. These are 1.5 billion people. They have differences in there are people in Ladakh who cannot speak Hindi, and their dialect and their language Ladakhi is so difficult. The transition to a normal other general national language is so difficult that it's not easy for them to talk in simple Hindi. English and other languages keep aside. Then same happens with people from lower sections of society. They don't know anything. They don't go to schools. They do manual scavenging. They eat unhealthy food. They eat street food. They take, if you take these people from Dharavi, from slums, they eat easily. They can eat anything out of dustbin. They don't have a problem. Many people there. So if you ask the same person that, nahi, you want equality, why are you asking for a reservation? Come on this date at this college and give an entrance exam with my son, who is out of international CSE board and who has been educated, who has tutors. I pay 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh rupees fees to his school, and he knows guitar, he knows Spanish, English, and Hindi is a far different this issue for him. How can you compete? Ask the normal person from that slum of Dharavi who goes to school once a week or twice a week, because other times he's begging or a traffic signal, or he is manual scavenging or feeding his family or her family. How can they be? If you are saying कि नहीं, give them degrees, allot them MBBS and give them engineering degrees with the same marks because they come from a certain category. Don't keep 40% as pass percentage. Keep 20% for pass percentage for these people. That will be very detrimental. But you are asking them to compete in the same institution with same people who are from international boards and everything else, just because they are lagging a bit. They're starting at least 50 years behind. If they're sitting in that entrance center, they're not in 2024. They're sitting in that entrance center in 1980. If you see the amount of exposure these people have, education these people have. So if a push is given to them so that they can sit with us at least, even if we might close our nose because they might be stinking, okay? So you close your nose, you give your entrance, he gives his entrance, or she gives her entrance, and then she passes with a lesser score, but she has to face same exams to graduate, okay? Or she has to face same exams to graduate. Here, they're not letting them go because they come from. You're just giving them a push. Ki, beta, you haven't come from a CBSE or a ICSE or a good board. You have struggled hard to reach here, and we can understand. For you to sit here means it's 10 times bigger struggle than a normal person who is sitting in that exam. So we give you 5 marks, 7 marks grace so that you can enter the college at least. And once you enter, and same goes for handicaps also. Same goes for other people who don't have eyes. So you are saying they should be given equality. Why do they want equality? Why do you call them handicapped? Why don't you call them specially abled? You can change the context, but in a way, these people are also handicapped. They don't have those sources. If you want them to sit with you and balance karne ke liye, there should be some pedestal where they can sit with you. You go to their villages, they come to your house, they're not allowed to come inside. If you want, you can see 1,000 examples. If you want, I can give you 5, 10 right now. You can see Unnao logging 2016, Dalits were lynched just because they thought they're skinning a cow. Rohit Vemela case, everybody knows in Hyderabad what happened with the PhD Dalit scholar. He was discriminated, he killed himself. You can see Khairji massacre, that's back. I don't think people will know, but there are communal violences. If latest you see Junaid Khan lynching case 2017, 15-year-old Muslim guy, mob lynched at Haryana. Look, Lakshmanpur massacre, 58 Dalits massacred. Muzaffarnagar riots, everybody knows 60 people killed. Pahlu Khan lynching case 2017, or Shakti Mills gang rape 2013. These all are caste. These are bigger issues. We are not living in, unfortunately, such a luxury where we can say ki, we are not, that person gave me a stare because I am from this region of a country. Definitely there's a discrimination for, let's say, Bihar is in Mumbai and Rajasthan, and some South Indians in North India and other places. That's true. I accept that. But then again, it is not something that will cost your life. It is not something that is going to somebody to throw you out of their houses once they discover. You're not a Muslim who is trying to rent a flat in a metropolitan city, who's not given home because just he is a Muslim. And many other examples for other caste and lower caste. So these are predominant issues, and unfortunately our politics runs around them. Everybody has a vote, so people fool these people telling them, "Okay, I'm from your caste." That person won't do anything to them, but because of the fear, the inequality, exactly, they choose, because they have numbers. There are 40 crore people from these sections in our country. They choose and decide governments, they choose and decide leaderships, and we get with something that is not good for them, that's not good for us. And the people at the top, per brass, understand this caste gimmick now, understand this religious gimmick now, and because of unawareness, everybody faces them as well as us. Them, us, I mean everybody. I'm not saying I'm an upper caste or a lower caste. I can be somebody from the lowest caste. Okay, that does not matter. But what I'm saying, everybody faces this, and I think these are more important topics than and if you're talking about discrimination, I think as the topic goes, religion and caste paramounts every discrimination in this country. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for that. I think there is definitely room for like an extended conversation on the topic of discrimination. I think maybe we can set up a session on Wednesday to talk deeper into this thing. Also, I would like to open up a poll after this call on the WhatsApp group, so where we can have an extended conversation about very specific topics about discrimination. I mean, maybe we can have a brainstorming session on whether we should abolish the caste-based discrimination or not. So those are all very interesting things to talk about. HP, do you have anything more to say, or?
No.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So another thing is that some people may have been skipped. I'm not sure if you raised your hand and if you did not get to speak, then we skipped over you. If you feel that way, please put it in the chat. But we are going on the basis of whoever raised their hand first. So we're not counting whether they spoke first or you didn't get to chance to speak. So if you were indeed skipped, please put it in the chat, and we'll address that. But Prince, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. I do agree with a lot of points HP did point out, that there's no doubt that discrimination do exist, especially on basis of caste, because we see khap panchayats and organizations like Karni Sena and Bhim Sena clearly propagating hate and instilling discrimination amongst people, whether it's from this side or that side. But it's not just in India, because the whole of the campaign of the Nazi Germany was because they assumed that there is an Aryan supremacy, or the Aryan race is supremer than all other. But I would again come to my point that discrimination, according to me, do arises due to the mentality. And when we talk of when they are rewarded, then it is just a cult-based system where a group of ill-minded people come together. We have an example of KKK. And regarding KKK, what is it known for? And who said fair is better? Is it not just a colonial mindset? Because when we see who were the colonialists who went out to the world and eradicated the local population and instilled the rule, it were the Europeans. They were the Anglo-Saxons. And it is not just what happened due to the Europeans, as we also see an impact of Indian culture in Indonesia now as well, where we see eminent people like Mr. Sukarna, who was named after the Mahabharat character Karna. So it is, I would say, much more than that. It is just the colonial mindset that instilled within all the people that the color of the Europeans are far superior. Now, regarding the caste-based system, yes, there were 4 categories created, but it was created based on class. It was created based on occupation, which led to caste-based discrimination. Now, is it not existent right now as well? We claim that there is equality before law in our constitution. But who are we kidding? We say Pune case where a child get bails within 24 hours, where at a situation when 77% of people in Indian jails are under trial. They are not even proven guilty. Uh, we see situations where people get dates on demand. Financially backward people, on the other hand, rot their slippers for years just to get a date. So it is not just caste-based discrimination. The country do suffer from class-based discrimination as well. HP pointed out that yes, people do get discriminated based on the place of birth, but it is not something that will get you killed. I beg to differ. People like Gopalganj DM got lynched just because he was not from that specific area. So, and there are several cases. We have the case where people of Assam unfortunately killed, I assume it was 25 Biharis just because they went there for an exam to get a job and stuff like that. Now, how can we directly address this issue? We have to go back to the psyche of the human brain, because this discrimination arises from the superiority complex that we humans instill in our brain. And the superiority is not just based on the human, it is based on a community. It is a tribal supremacy, that my tribe is greater than other. That tribe could be the Anglo-Saxons, the tribe could be Indo-Aryans, the tribe could be Dravidians. The same thing you see everywhere. It's not just that caste-based politics is there in Bihar, it's there in Karnataka, it's there in Tamil Nadu, it's there in Telangana. Wherever you go, what does this caste-based politics show us? That politicians are able to divide us based on caste. They are able to get those votes just by discriminating within us, or uh, kind of instilling an villainous image of community in front of the others and doing the same on the contrary part. So it is so. And it is our brain only that kind of created this supremacy of English, because we don't normally see a student of village to kind of be well versed in English. But when a certain student goes to a city, then he studies in a CBSE school, he's well versed with English, and he gets all those resources. So when he comes back and kind of converse there with their peers in English, then people do assume that he's much more smarter. Even if we uh, even if we test the two students right then and there, then I would fear that the student from the village would be much more educated. But that creates certain kind of inferiority complex within those village students, and superiority complex in those of the cities. So this also leads to a discrimination based on tier one, tier two, or tier three cities, where people of tier one cities will look down on tier two, and people of tier two cities will look down on tier three. So it is, I guess, it has a huge spectrum, and we are just scratching the top of it. I'm sorry, I took. Yeah, Raghav.
All right, thanks, Prince. Yeah, Samarth, go ahead.
Uh, I think in India, many of the discriminations they do exist on an objective basis. This might surprise some people, who consider that religion and caste-based discrimination, they are in fact illegal in India. Then how can they be prevalent or widespread or explicit? So for a discrimination to be explicit, it doesn't necessarily have to be that the discrimination is validated by the laws of the land. It can be that the laws of the land might say one thing, but the mentality of a large number of people in that country might be something else, might be contrary to that law. And because of that mindset, the discriminatory mindset, people who are on the receiving end of the discrimination, they will feel as though it's like systematic and explicit, and it's not just it's not just subjective or in the minds of the people being oppressed. This is an important point to note. Because what is a society but not just an aggregate of individuals. So one individual, he might be prejudiced, and he might discriminate others, and the effect due to that one individual, that might be limited. But when that kind of behavior is reinforced among his peers, that kind of discriminatory behavior, then the effect of such a discriminatory behavior, that might become widespread, and the people on the receiving end, they will feel as though like that there is no escape from such a kind of oppression. Uh, so so to conclude, it doesn't necessarily have to be that the discrimination should be supported by the laws of the land. All that is sufficient is for a sufficiently large number of people to engage in such discriminatory behavior. And there have been the speakers who spoke previously to me. They brought several instances of very heinous crimes committed against oppressed castes and religious minorities. But so all of them are truly horrific and deserve to be condemned. But what is the the larger point trying to be made by pointing out to such cases? That would be my question. In a country as vast as India, if you go looking for heinous crimes being perpetrated, you'll find such heinous crimes being perpetrated against any community. You can find caste-based discrimination against the Brahmins of Tamil Nadu. Well, that is a very overlooked case of caste discrimination, where the Brahmins of Tamil Nadu, for example, were they were wounded and harassed to a point of them living as like second-class citizens or third-class citizens of that state. So uh, in trying to argue any such cases of widespread discrimination, what we got to point out is not like individual instances, but actually like aggregate data collected over a sufficient number of years, which says that this community is being systematically targeted, and that bears out on the data by the point that that the given community is suffering the disproportionate number of crimes. Let's say a community is represented in overrepresented as the victim, whereas their percentage of the population is comparatively less. Such data, it has to be brought out to say that such a kind of systemic discrimination, it exists. So the bar that is there to prove that against any community, whether it's caste-based or religion-based, that the discrimination against them exists, the bar to establish that one, it is quite high, and we must meet that criteria. And arguing in terms of this example and that example, it doesn't help to establish the larger fact. However, there is one instance of the discrimination, which it raised to the level of ethnic cleansing. It was I think the only case of ethnic cleansing in the modern independent India, and that was the ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir. And if you look at the reason behind that one, you might say, that was due to purely subjective mentality of the majority people living over there. You might say that. You might say that all of that ethnic cleansing, it wasn't supported by the laws of the land. Kashmir is still a part of India, and and therefore it doesn't permit discrimination based on any religion. But if you look at the deeper reason why that occurred, you might also come across other relevant facts, such as how Hindus in Pakistan and Bangladesh, they're actually legally discriminated by the law as they're non-Muslims. And if you look at the Zoroastrians in Iran and the Coptic Christians in Egypt who suffer a similar kind of persecution, you'll find that this is part of a larger picture where actually if you're like a minority in Muslim majority countries, most probably you'll be relegated to the status of dhimmi and a second class citizen, and you will be like yeah, treated as such a second class citizen. And even when such a legal framework to persecute minorities, it doesn't exist, such as in India, where the Hindus, they found themselves to be in the unfortunate position of being a minority. They were treated, they were persecuted nonetheless, even though that was not supported by the state. So this is very clearly this ethnic cleansing that happened, that points to like systematic and widespread, discrimination, and it actually meets the criteria of systematic discrimination. So next to the point of like why should we restrict this debate to just religion and caste-based discrimination? Why not extend it to others? As we extend this the scope of the debate, I think we're gonna run into problems because not all kinds of discrimination, believe it or not, it's not malicious. Because getting entry, for example, getting entry into the elite colleges, it is based on your intellectual ability. And if that intellectual ability is presented, you display it in the form of like this test you take. And these intellectual abilities that you have, it is largely beyond your control. It is largely a factor of the genetics and the environment that you were born in, neither of which you had in control. So we are left with the situation that, in many of these instances, people, the position they rise to, it is not due to the choices that they made, not entirely, but due to forces due to largely out of their control. So how are you going to like discriminate against people based on factors that are beyond their control? Because you don't choose the color of your skin, you don't choose where you were born, and discriminating based on this one, it is we all agree that it is not moral. But how about
Right.
like discriminating based on your intellectual ability, or discriminating based on your physical appearance? How good you look, how charming you are. All of these are things that are mostly beyond your control, and these are all very nuanced topics. And we just cannot like wholesale say that all forms of discrimination are malicious and all of them should be prohibited, because how do we proceed then?
Yeah.
One
Samar,
way that the world is in fact proceeding in the current uh, situation is how beauty, for example, it is considered like entirely subjective, and we have these beauty pageants in America, some of which they are electing like very like morbidly obese people, not even like fat people. They're electing morbidly obese people to be like the winners of the beauty pageant. So which is like objectively unaesthetic. So we're going to run into all of these problems, and yeah, these are the things that I wanted to highlight.
okay, thanks, Samar. I think a couple of things about what you just said, right? Like you were pointing to the example of like the Tamil Brahmins being like subjugated or something. Even I mean, like I'm not really sure about the specifics, but given that is true, right? It kind of like makes to the point that HP was making about like how there is caste-based discrimination that is very real. Because it doesn't matter that you're hitting higher up or you're hitting lower up. Whatever is perceived higher or low, when the caste-based discrimination happens, then that is a fact of the matter, right? Like it happens regardless of which is considered generally high or low. And And there was other points being made, but there are a lot of people in the line, so I'm gonna like open it up for the others as well. Gagana, please go ahead. Gagana Shri.
Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes.
Well, I think that religion or discrimination, this is objective. It is definitely not subjective because, as much as I know, the superiority complex or this competitive nature of humans that can be traced back to our very early ancestors who competed for resources, like critical for our survival, like food, shelter, and mates, and the better standing they had in that community, the better chances was there for survival, and we carry those same instinct till today. I'm not saying it is right, but we can understand where it is coming from. And one of the examples for this instinct is halo effect. I think many have heard about it. It is when people see one person, and if they have one good quality, that could be good looks, let's say, we subconsciously think, okay, that person is thriving in every other sphere of their life as well, and we do not consciously make that decision. It happens subconsciously. And for that matter, there are many examples. There's pretty privilege which is going on, there's color based discrimination, gender based, language based, and even on basis of social status, which is going on. And when we come to religion and caste system, it is not a mindset problem. It is basic instinct of humans, I would say, to discriminate, to make themselves feel superior, or put themselves in pedestal, because their mind subconsciously thinks that, uh, okay, we have better chances of survival if we are greater, we are better, we are superior than everybody else. And I don't think it can be like solved. It can not be changed unless we as people collectively make an effort every minute to not to discriminate. Then it's not going to change. And there's this another stereotype that discrimination is mostly done by people who are not getting educated or uneducated people, but that's not right. There was this one news back then where IIMs and IIT people, the lower caste or deemed as lower caste people, were getting discriminated, and the students were committing suicide. And they were the people who were discriminating them, as perceived by our society and accredited by the institutions, they were the brightest minds of India. So there's something wrong, right? And that's what I'm saying is discrimination. We cannot change it. But hey, we got a lot of options though to discriminate. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we cannot control our thoughts that our mind sends our minds will do anything for our survival. It will feed any kind of life. So it will send thoughts and everything that, okay, we are superior, we're inferior than other people based on a few subjective criteria. But we can choose to entertain them or not entertain them. And I think as society we fail there. We entertain those thoughts.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Gagana. Samat, did you still have more to say, or I see your hand is raised?
I just wanted
Okay.
to like clarify that the point that I was trying to make was, in a country as large as India, if you like go on looking for instances of discrimination, you can find all kinds. You can find whatever you're looking for. But in order to argue that that discrimination is like systematic, you have to actually show the data that that the people being victimized, they are being victimized in a way that is disproportionate to their relative percentage of the population. So my saying that Brahmins, they were discriminated in Tamil Nadu, that doesn't rise to the level of systematic discrimination unless I also show that they were like victimized out of proportion.
Okay, got it. I understand your point. Thanks for the clarification, Samat. I think Gomateshwari, you're next.
So yeah, about HP's point, that Ladakh, the students, the point that students from Ladakh, they have some difficulty when it comes to like this reservation and cutoff and stuff. See, actually, that is something related to the uh, administration and governance. Though they are from a different geographical region, that Ladakh, students from Ladakh or any other places where there's no proper access to good education or a good schools or colleges, something that is something related to the administration and the governance, and that is the duty of the politicians. They should provide good facilities for the students to have proper access to good and um, a nice education. So that one, and just because they are from a different and a geographical region where they didn't get a proper availability of education, we can't geographically unify the nation, like for an example, because geographically it's fixed. There are several cities, there are several states, so we can't try to um, make India as a one nation where everybody has to speak one language or be like, we can't unify it. And as he said, to augment the benefits on which I mentioned, reservation, cutoff, and scholarship, I said that people are not voicing out to abolish the caste and religion when it comes to the benefits that they take, that is this reservation, cutoff, and scholarship. They only when massacres happen or anything like blood shedding events happen, only then they raise their voice to abolish the caste and religion. But when they get benefits, they are not doing it. They just get the benefits and they're just keeping quiet. So yeah, that Ladakh, I think the example point of that students from Ladakh, they let them get reservation and cutoffs and scholarships, but augmenting the benefits like these three, the reservation, cutoff, and scholarship for people, those who don't have access to um, easy access to schools or colleges or good education alone is not the solution. Augmenting these benefits for them is not alone is not the only solution, because let's say, mm, like for example, if they are getting a very advantageous cutoff, then how can we recruit them for a job? Because the education should be augmented, the education way should be augmented instead of the benefits alone, because they should have knowledge, they should have the skills to develop themselves. They should not easily get the chances. Let them have chances like this reservation, cutoffs, and others, but not the benefits alone. They should have the um, path to get access to develop themselves as well. Not just because if they get a job or just because they get a seat, do you think that they can um they can upskill themselves easily? No, because they should have, primarily they should have the foundation, they should have a good foundation, the base should be proper, which is the school. So they should have that education, and the development is very important, and not just augmenting the benefits like reservation and scholarship. And the another point HP said was the handicap thing. Yes, the handicap thing, um they let's take for an example, handicaps are there. Few people don't have hands, people don't they are blind, and few people are deaf, and all of them are from different castes. So do you think everybody, all the handicaps should be given cutoffs or reservation based on the caste and not based on the disability that they have? No, right? Because it is based on the reservation or cutoff for the handicapped people. It should be based on the ability or the inability that they have, and not because of the caste alone, I'm saying. Because handicapped people, as HP said, even they should. What can we do if handicapped people and normal people are writing an exam, and reservation or cutoff is different for them? Normal people, they have the ability to do their work every day because they can easily do their routine well. But handicapped people are not like that, so it's not the same. Caste based reservation is not as same as the reservation that a handicapped person gets. um, so normal people versus handicapped people is different, and caste based reservation versus reservation for the inability is different. So we can't resonate, or we can't see both as the same benefit. That one. And another thing is, someone said development. Someone said that massacres are even more threatening than trying to suppress someone's development. So it's not that only when massacres or any kind of commotion happens, that alone is threatening, and that alone should be stopped, and not that alone should be stopped with giving major importance to hinder it. And trying to suppress a person from a lower caste is not that bad as creating honor killings and stuff. Whether it's trying to suppress a lower caste person's success, or committing honor killing, both are cruel and both are wrong. It's not that just because someone's development is being stopped since they belong to another group or a class or um, religion or caste, it doesn't mean that it is better than honor killing or committing massacres. Both should be stopped, because this providing reservation and cutoff and scholarship is good, but mostly emphasizing this beneficial aspects on the people's mind indirectly and psychologically. This itself creates an indirect superiority and inferiority complex amongst people. So
Okay.
the to take some kind of a method, method or measure to not make the people feel this kind of a complex even indirectly. So yeah, that one. And gender discrimination also exists because when it comes to movies, women are being objectified a lot. And when it comes to movies, women are being objectified a lot. Example, the clothes and the age.
Komatiswari, we have like a limited amount of time. I do want to see like not many people are waiting to speak. Okay, so
Okay.
just a small piece of advice, like take maybe the next moving forward, like we can take like 3 minutes max, and then you
Okay.
can close it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
All right,
women are being
yeah, go ahead. Finish what you're saying, and then we can close it.
women are being objectified a lot, which is a gender discrimination. Even that is subjective, because when it comes to the clothes part or the age factor, women are just used as a used for object as a objectified tool. And the age, a 50-year-old or 55-year-old man acts as the hero for a 30-year or 25-year-old girl. This happens. Also, 40-year-old man acts as a hero for a 18-year or 19-year-old girl, but a 50 or a 40-year-old woman has never acted as a heroine for a 20-year-old boy. I'm not saying it should be done, but when it comes to um, discrimination, uh, trying to go beyond the morality in a person's life, even that is wrong, because they should have some kind of an ethical sense that somewhat they have a father daughter age gap, but no one is bothered about that. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thanks for that. Epsita, go ahead.
Yeah, so to Gomateshwari's point, I think that still that there is a need for the playing field to be even. It's like you're asking a person with very short legs to compete with a man with very long legs, like Usain Bolt or someone. So you're just giving them a sort of head start so they have the ability to at least compete and not just lose at the start itself. And about like the three things you mentioned, like reservations, cutoffs, and scholarships, it's also like you acknowledged in the case of the Ladakh people that they don't have equal access to the resources that an upper caste person will be. And it's definitely not merit, like someone else mentioned. It's not like they have this knowledge, and even if they have, it's because they don't have access and they're deeply disadvantaged in this manner. Even economically, if you look at it, it's been proven that this pattern of intergroup inequality matches the economic scheme of the caste system. Like, there are economic disparities along the religious and caste lines, and that can't just happen because it started now. It's been going on for a very, very long time. And in terms of last point about gender discrimination, I agree that how people perceive clothes is very subjective. But then even these things do have a religious basis, because you see, like, women wearing short clothes is more likely to be frowned upon than someone wearing, say, a burqa or something like that. So even they are not completely detached or alienated from any sort of religious basis or roots. And these things are, like I said, deeply entrenched and have been going on for a long, long time. So it's gonna take a long time to overcome it as well. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. HP, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to counter Samarth. I'll say generally there are. My first point was that there are many discriminations that happen every place. Okay, so just focusing about what is more important. So anybody can face discrimination inside his house also. You can be two brothers or two sisters, and you can think that your parents are more favoring the elder sibling or younger sibling. So there can be discrimination everywhere. Gender discrimination is there, and it's a very bigger topic, and it needs more coverage than this. But what I wanted to say is somewhat said there was ethnic cleansing of, let's say, Kashmiri Pandits that happened. Okay. And then he said, there are 2 points. Then other thing which I am very against is you cannot go against genes and genetics and place of birth and everything. But then again, we are humans now. We evolve, we adapt, we learn. You're not born a swimmer. It does not. If your father is a good swimmer, is a good cricketer or an actor, the genes are not inside you. You can actually be a very pathetic actor or a swimmer, and somebody from a different caste who has never touched water or seen acting can be 10 times a bigger actor than you. And we see these examples every day. So humans cannot be this forced to genetics and all that. I don't buy that. And second thing is, for example, I'll just say how reservations work. Kashmiri Pandits, the exodus that happened with them, they were a community of 3 lakh people that left Kashmir. But then again, the reservation was given to Kashmiri Pandits, and I think everybody here would have seen the Kashmiri Pandits in their college, who was given a seat, and then again they're placed back in Kashmir in J&K government department. Private sector, they are given government seats, and they deserve that. They deserve that because they were wiped off from a state, and then government is trying their level best to get them back. But even if after those efforts, you can see people are given properties and flats and societies inside Kashmir, but some of them are taking it and selling it off. Some are taking benefits out of it, but you cannot discriminate them now. No, they are taking too much advantage, because you won't see a homeless Kashmiri Pandit, even if they left homes in 90s. All of them have been given homes, and they surely deserve that support. So we should look at everything from the same prism. Okay, so why did they need that? Because we understand this, that the scenario, the story is very clear. But the same goes for everybody. So you cannot be against a community and then support somebody else. So if you support Kashmiri Pandits, but then again, you should also understand there were at least 300 Kashmiri Pandits killed. Some claim 1,000. Official records say 300, 296 exactly, to be accurate, as per government records. 1,000 Kashmiri Pandits, let's say, were killed, but then again, you have to have sympathy for Kashmiri Muslims also. They were more than 1.5 lakh officially have died, Kashmiri Muslims. And then again, you should not look at both of them with different these prisms. Different. You should consider it equally, because both of them are citizens of our country. What happens is, when we start supporting a community and then disgracing another community, ki they are also part of us now, and there has been this and that. What happens is it creates an image inside the other person's mind. Say there are two brothers, Kashmiri Pandits and Kashmiri Hindus come from same lineage. The blood is same. They were never separate. The only conversion has happened, because of which Kashmiri Muslims are Muslims and Kashmiri Brahmins are Hindus. But they come from same line. There's no caste difference between a Kashmiri Muslim and a Hindu, because the lineage is same. Some of them converted, some of them did not. Okay. But now there are two brothers, you say step brothers, you support one, and the other you don't support. You support one because that person is coming from your religion, and the other person you start treating as a devil. And then you are objectifying, not subjectifying. You're objectifying a crore population. There are at least 90 lakh Kashmiri Muslims living in the state. What happens is, when you start supporting like this, the people who still in Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandits still who have not left their houses, are in harmony with the people. Not many, let's say 10% only or 5% only. And because of these government schemes, they're living in quarters. 30 to 40% of them have been sent back. What happens is this creates a hostile atmosphere for the Kashmiri Pandits or same people who are persecuted, and then you start supporting them, and supporting them is good, but ridiculing the other side. If it's a population of 5 people or 10 people, that's a separate story, but ridiculing a crore population does not do any bad to you, but does bad to the people you are supporting, because they themselves are not enemies of Kashmiri Muslims, but you are projecting movies like Kashmiri Files, movies like other things. You see everybody supports them. But what happens back home is at least 2 killings, 3 killings happen, and hatred starts coming up. So if you warmonger and if you go biased in supporting, it creates confusion. And my second point is, reservation does not mean that you are graduating. Reservation in no way means you will become a doctor. It just means that you are allowed inside in that institution. And I think nobody here will disagree as far as this sole situation of getting selected to a college is considered. We are not selecting people out of 1 in 5, 1 in 2. There are at least 2 million, 3 million people who sit for normal exams. 1 million sit and 1,000 get selected. And this is 1 in 100 who gets selected. And what happens in 1 in 100? You just select one from the reservation who is also competing in at least 10,000 people in his own caste who gets selected. So if he is getting that push and he's not taking 80%, 90%, the reservation is given in a way their participation in the society is, if there are 30% Dalits living in a society and 30% seats are reserved for them, that means their community gets represented, not that person. So if there are 30% Dalits, 30%, let's say, other caste or minorities or handicaps, and open categories kept for 60% or 70%, anybody can participate. What is happening is it's actually equating everybody. It's trying to get everybody on the par. So if somebody is starting behind, you're trying to push them to a line where they can start at least. And what happens, this can only create equality. If you want equality in this country, you want people to be on the same pedestal, you need to get them forward first. And over a time period when we realize their economic statistics have gone up, they're doing better, it should be taken back. Again, this is also important that if somebody gets reservation and a community as small as, for example, Kashmiri Pandits, all of them are in government sector, all of them is doing well, or some other section of people, and we can see noticeable growth, and we see there's no need to support any community more as they have already progressed, that reservation should be taken back. But people who are still behind, okay, so there are loopholes. Exactly. It's like, even the reservation given to handicaps. So there can be actually somebody who has a limping leg, who does not have a hand, who can be like this blind. But then again, there can be a person who just has a mind defect, even not even noticeable. He has some color blindness or some other situation like that, and he calls himself a handicapped and gets a certificate. That happens, and misuses the reservation for handicaps. That happens in normal reservations also. That happens in handicapped reservation also. Keeping all that in mind, there are going to be misuses, but majority, as long as 90% genuine cases are getting benefits out of it, it should be encouraged, and it should be made us. This is the only way where we can place everybody in equality. You cannot keep equal platforms and expect them to grow up automatically. You need to give them push. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, HP. Since actually Samat was addressed, maybe Samat, you can go next, and then Prince, you can go next. Samat, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would like to take exception being called names. I thought the speaker before me, he just gave me a knee-jerk reaction without trying to understand what the message was I was trying to convey. And instead of calling me names like bigot and warmonger, he actually called me that. I think this is quite unfortunate where people, who when the narrative just goes a little bit against them, or they don't want to, they hear words coming out of the other people's mouth that doesn't entirely fit into their narrative, and then they start calling other people's names. I think that's an unfortunate development. Whereas the point that I was trying to make is that it's not like one discrimination is should be prioritized over the other. But the point I was trying to make was, if you're going to argue that a systematic discrimination it exists, it is necessary that you just do not point out to instances of this occurred to that community or something else, but to say that uh, the community in question that is allegedly being victimized, it is suffering a greater proportion of the crimes than their percentage in the population. So when I said that this discrimination exists to caste-based discrimination against Tamils against Brahmins in Tamil Nadu, I would not argue that that is systematically based, because I do not have the data to back up that that they were victimized out of proportion of their population. I do not have that data. But whereas when it came to the Kashmiri Pandits, I can quite clearly say that they were actually being systematically discriminated against. And what more better of an example than systematic discrimination than just being wiped out of the map, being ethnically cleansed. So that was the kind of the point that I was trying to make, arguing for greater uh, you know giving this sort of greater emphasis and evidence while arguing for your points, rather than bringing out this instant and that instant that happened to that person in that year, which is all very condemnable and horrific. We can all agree that nobody should be discriminated against, but to actually put in effort to bring in greater detail to make your points. That was the point that we're trying to make. And the reaction that I got, it is quite unfortunate and disheartening. And I hope the quality of the conversation, it will it will increase in the coming days.
Okay, okay. So I want to give opportunity for HP to clarify in case, because I want to make sure there is no misunderstanding here.
No. I don't. I'm not saying you said anything warmongering, and there's no hard feelings and nothing like that. If there's anything you felt bad about, I am extremely sorry for that. But it is not targeting you. The only thing that I'm not with you is you took two things: one, Tamilian Brahmin, and then you went to Kashmiri Brahmins, both. And I supported Tamil and Brahmin. I don't have much idea of, so I didn't speak on that. As far as Kashmiri Pandits are concerned, I have a very good analysis, and I am giving you numbers. 296 Kashmiri Pandits died as per government record, and as far as official perception is concerned, they said 1,000. So what my point was, if there are people who are dying and they got reservation, and on your point only, I extended that they deserved that. I did not say they did not deserve that, and they needed to be placed. Okay, and if there is ethnic cleansing and it is the only situation that you see in the whole country and the Tamil Brahmins, then I have a concept that you're not looking at everything, and you're picking some things which can put forth your opinion. And this is a democracy, everybody is entitled to opinions. But then again, you have to have, say, my point is, what I am fighting for, or what we are talking about is, we should look at everything with the same spectrum. If the Kashmiri Pandits have, and they genuinely have sacrificed and lost, and there's been proper research, ethnic cleansing, I'll support that. But then again, you have to take in understanding the amount of chaos Kashmir has seen. Kashmiri Pandits left in 93. Since 93, it has been 31 years. When do you not hear in a what week is there when you don't see some terrorist attack or some Kashmiri getting killed? Is there a single week that passes when you don't hear 5 or 6 people dying? A total government record of 1.5 lakh people have died, and only people you are seeing, you should understand, if Kashmiri Pandit are around 15 lakh, 12 lakh people, the remaining 90 lakh people are Kashmiri Muslims also. So you cannot ridicule a community is what I'm saying. So ridiculing a community and favoring other
Which community did I ridicule? Which community did I ridicule?
I'm talking about the same Kashmiri Muslims you're saying. They ethnic cleansing they
Did I
did.
ridicule them? Where did I ridicule them? What words did I use?
You said they were ethnically cleansed. What does that mean? They automatically ethnic cleansing? No, the meaning means the other community started coming and ethnically cleaning them. They were trying to throw them off
So
Kashmir.
if
That
one
is-
community was ethnically cleansed, did it happen
that-
automatically, or was it
that-
perpetrated by some people?
You cannot use a fancy word and think what it means. Does not mean that. It means ethnic
Offensive.
cleansing. Other went up and cleaned it off. That is what he meant.
Well,
And
I don't know like how many members
So-
of which community were involved, but the fact was
There
they
are
were
only two
ethnically
communities
cleansed.
there. You should have your facts right. There are only two communities. If you ethnically cleanse one,
Okay then.
the other. Anyway, and by the way, to give you a better record,
So by the way, like if you're going to say they were not, if the ethical cleansing was not happened, then like the
What
other
happened?
the other community we did commit it, then it did not happen basically by your logic.
What happened is there was a governor called Jagmohan in that area in that time, and he was properly supported by BJP government at center. The government of center was BJP, and what happened was they were saying there are Pakistani infiltrators that have come inside, and they were all giving. They're all, you can check it. Just this is getting recorded, and just take my word for it and just cross check it. Jagmohan green flagged these people to go to Jammu, and then told them, don't worry, leave your houses, go to Jammu, and we will show you what we will do. And they thought they will come up with a brute majority, brute force, and they will suppress the other community. And that is how these people went off. At start, it was supported by government. They didn't leave and run. There was a proper background propaganda happening, and unfortunately it backfired. If it would not have backfired, these people would have been peacefully living in the Kashmir or the community they were in. So
were it not for the government propaganda, those people, the Kashmiri Pandits, would still be living in their in their homeland that they have been
at least
living,
majority of them would have
for
still,
thousands of years.
You can see everybody was dying.
It's like government propaganda mostly. It was government propaganda mostly to scare off those people from living there.
This is a good evidence. Just check the facts. I'm giving you the name.
I'll check the evidence on that one. But it is good that you made your point clear that in fact all of this happened due to not like systematic prejudices of any community, but due to government propaganda, right? Government scare tactics to scare the right. That is what you're saying. That was the primary factor, right?
Again, you're going against
that was the primary factor.
Same situation, you are taking contempt on a crore people. They lived with them for 1,000 years. They are from the same blood. There's no need to think that they are different and they're fighting. It is their own story, their own history. They're living together. They're still living together. What happens is when people like you start saying the other community did it, what happens is back there in Kashmir, people start thinking
people like me is
victimized, and the anger.
People like me do go out and commit ethnic cleansing, is it?
Okay. Guys, okay, let me step in here. Maybe actually, I know that you're passionate about this, but don't point fingers at people. Just say that. Don't say people like you. That doesn't sound good. Like just say that if somebody is making that thing, then say that there are people who are saying that.
I started with a humbling white kid. I'm not attacking him. The only thing is I was countering. That's it. And with that said, the point
countering me with polite words such as bigot and warmonger. Yeah, that was like a great counter. Thank you.
You can take it as you like. My point is, if there are two communities,
I will take it as you gave it to me. I will take it as you gave it to me.
Let me complete my point now. Thank you. My point is, there are two communities, okay, one fighting another, and you cannot justify. See, what happens is when people more than millions start fighting each other, and you take hands with one community and then push down the other community, what it creates more chaos. What happens is when you
That is
divide,
what you think I'm
right?
doing. Whereas what
Can
I'm
you
doing is
point now? I have understood.
arguing for the peaceful coexistence of everybody,
But you said ethnic
and
cleanliness.
not just like brush away and put under the carpet when heinous crimes occur.
So you
Well,
cannot
there
put
is
on.
ethnic cleansing
That is
going
what
on,
happened.
but who was the ethnic cleansing committed by? It was not
At the
committed by anybody.
It clean and
It was
clear.
not
That
committed
is
by anybody, right?
Raghav, I
It
think
just
we
like
are into
automatically
12:30.
happened. It just
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
you
at
can
12:30. We can
continue.
open up the discussion. Anybody can pitch in, guys. So that's why I was like kind of quiet. Like, yeah,
Yeah, you don't have to raise hands. Yeah.
yeah. Please, I want to actually I want to I know that I think both HP and Samarth, they have a lot of points to back and forth. It's getting a heated debate, and I want to get to a certain point of resolution, but I also don't want other people to feel like they're left out of the conversation. Maybe we can shift to somebody else. If you want to say something, please go ahead. And Samarth and HP, I think.
Can I
Yeah.
put in like a timer for everyone, like 1 minute timer or 2 minute timer?
No. That's not necessary at this point. No, not right now. But I do want to, see a certain resolution to this like heated debate about the Kashmir. But I think we should have like a separate debate about this.
Raghav,
Maybe on Wednesday we'll have a topic. We'll have a proper conversation on this. Maybe both HP and Samarth can come in with their proper research done, and we can have a
Raghav,
elaborate
may I?
discussion on that. Yeah, go ahead, Prince. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a Kashmiri, so I won't speak or I won't be a mouthpiece for them. They can speak out for themselves. But I was born in Gaya. I'll speak of that place. That place is the home of Buddhism. A Hindu ruler, Shashank, went and cut down the Bodhi tree. And an arm of Hinduism, Buddhism, the Buddhists did ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya Muslims. It's not that just one community has hatred towards the other, it's the same the other way around as well. So let's not demonize any religion. Every religion looks at the other religion in a very demonizing way itself. But it's us, the citizens or the followers of those religion, who should rather instigate the peace that we see in our religion. It's not that some religion is good or bad.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, if you demonize one community against another, okay, somebody did wrong. I accept it, and there is a mistake. Nobody says there is not a mistake. But then it has been pointed out from past 30 years, and we are living in our whole lives seeing that. We need to go ahead from this, and we need to understand, just for the sake of it, stereotyping or not stereotyping. Let's say the whole community is evil, okay? But what is it going to do? It is going to create more chaos. The better way to get out.
Same thing happened in 2002 riots, right? It all started by somebody throwing a stone at a train, and the whole two communities started burning.
Best situation is if you are an elder brother or a future generation who has seen something heinous happening in your previous generation, you don't pinpoint it now. What we have learned is, you just say ki, wrong is wrong, right is right. Okay. Sometimes even saying wrong is wrong, okay, and pointing out to a subjective or to a objective way of to a certain community, it does not. It creates hatred. It creates more animosity. We should rather bind forces. So rather than saying ki, nahi, this one community and this one place and this people did this to this people from a third different people, it is not. What is going to do is, if say you and I are fighting, we are brothers, and the third person somewhere is saying you are right, I'm not going to get angry about the third person. I might have a little bit of anger about him, but then again my animosity towards my own brother will grow. If a third person comes,
this is exactly what the British did.
My animosity, and I will start, he's getting more favor than me. He's more, that happens with brothers also. One brother starts getting more property or more push from the other brother starts thinking, I'll kill the other brother, and let's.
But HP, just to counter what you're saying, what you're saying, that if somebody, let's say that there is a religion A that is committing an crime against religion, like members of religion A committing a certain crime against religion B, then do you mean to say that somebody should not come and record that event as saying that, okay, the people from religion A committed this crime, because that would instigate more crime?
what I have seen is, if two communities are fighting, okay, first and foremost, Kashmiri Pandits and Kashmiri Muslims never fought. Okay, what happened was in 1989 there was an election and it got rigged very badly, and Pakistan took an advantage of it and started supporting money and guns to the faction that lost the election, and it started a revolt of militancy in Kashmir, and because of that they wanted India out. But predominant religion being Muslims there, they started, some of them, black sheep, started killing the whole black sheep bunch, and those terrorists started killing Kashmiri Pandits. They targeted few, 5-10 people, and then there was fear, and over the scape of 300 years, it's 300 people who have died, and that is heinous. But what has happened is, it has never been Kashmiri Hindus versus Kashmiri Muslims. The acts were done by Pakistan terrorists. They killed them. You can see it on record. So these communities have always, there have never been a riot between Kashmiri Muslims and Kashmiri Hindus in Kashmir. Okay, they've always, in fact, the remaining Kashmiri Hindus that are left in Kashmir, unka chotha, chaliswa, that is all done by Muslim communities, because most of them have left. Okay, so now in that situation, when the other community gets targeted, and it itself has lost 1.5 lakh of its youth to militancy, that is, imagine the difference between 300 people and 1,50,000 people, official records. Then on those points, which is where it is already very complex and very messed up,
Right.
you
We are
start
equating
pointing out
people who were Indian citizens who were like driven out of their homelands versus the Kashmiri
driven out of
separatists who actually took up the arms against the nation. You want to equate these two people? Yeah, go ahead. You know, it's quite clear. Like, the
No,
point that you're
what
trying to make.
what HP is saying is something different. Okay, let him make that point. No? That's what he's saying. Right? It's different point.
Yeah.
I
You've
think
been making
from
your
what
point
I
since the
understand,
last
right?
5 minutes. Now, I made one point that you actually like equated, you know, people who have been living there thousands of years, who are ethnically cleansed, versus people who took up arms against the nation, right? 1.5 lakh people of Kashmiri separatists, and then the 300 people of Kashmiri Pandits.
Again biased.
Like again,
1.5 lakh did not.
Again, you are like just backtracking on your own comments.
No, they were civilians killed. Where did I say 1.5 lakh terrorists killed? They are youth. They were martyred. 5,000, 7,000 terrorists killed. Civilians died. Civilians, youth, young, walking and got shot. What are you saying?
I guess you will agree that
against Kashmiri Muslims, I guess. And let me tell you one thing. What my point is, if you don't say ethnic cleansing, see what happens is, why I countered you, because there is no confusion in this scape. There are only two communities. There is no caste divide politics in Kashmir. There are only two communities. One is Muslims and another is Kashmiri Hindus. So when you say ethnic cleansing, it is very clear, crystal clear, that you are pointing out to a different community, and that is Kashmiri Muslims. So if there would have been 4 or 5 communities, it could create confusion कि हाँ शायद किसी एक को बोला होगा. But the way you say, when one says ethnic cleansing, it exactly at the point blank range keeps the Kashmiri Muslim community before the gun. What I'm saying is, for all the money we are
what I'm saying is, I'm
Hmm.
not saying that, you know, like every like able-bodied person of Kashmiri, like who is a Muslim, actually took up arms. Did I ever actually say that?
No, but
that
you
is
said
not
what-
necessary for the. That is not necessary. That is actually not necessary for every able-bodied Muslim man in Kashmir to actually take up arms. Okay, for the Hindu minority to be ethnically genocided, that is not required. All it takes is like a couple hundred or a couple thousand people to arm themselves and get rid of this troublesome minority. You know, in that case, it was the Kashmiri Pandits. They thought, you know, just a couple hundred or a couple thousand, that is sufficient.
But then
and
again,
the result is the same. Whether it was done by like millions of people or thousands of people, the result is the same, right?
No, you are right. But how do you feel? How are you so confident that minority people who took up arms is acting on behalf of the entire community?
See, that exactly. And how can you say a couple of hundred
make that point?
and a couple of thousand?
But HP, like, you know, HP and Saju, I guess, like, you know, what I would say is, like, in the case of the people, like the Katwa rape case, right? You talked about the, you know, Kashmiri Brahmins did that. Then those are like few people who did that. They're not representing the entire community. You can also say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Raghav, you're right.
No,
we
no, no, no,
we
no.
do not blame the entire community.
Listen.
But the thing is, it's repeating quite often. For example, in Kerala, Brahmins, what all things they did, I am ashamed of even speaking here. Right?
Huh,
So,
but listen. Why I am telling you, and I might be wrong also with a little bit of aggression that I put in against Samarth, and I might be wrong. He was being very civilized, and maybe knee-jerk reaction. He said maybe it happened like that. It should not have come out like that. But what happens is, we have, as an Indian household, every household is paying fucking 500 or 1,000 rupee in one or other form of tax to Kashmir every month. 500 to 1,000 rupees gets paid to the armed forces that are there. Our army that is there, the expenses, the budget that goes in keeping Kashmir silent and safe with us, it's a very sensitive place. So I think as an evolved generation, we need to accept that कि नहीं इस जगह के बारे में let's be a little sensitive, because the killings, the other involvement of other country, how many more soldiers do we need to sacrifice to keep that place peaceful with us, and how much more money are we going to burn in a situation where we don't have money for our own unemployed youth to keep just that place intact and with us. So keeping all that,
that
I
is
would
a
say the
different
problem
discussion.
is not me speaking about the things that are going on there. The problem is not me.
see, what I'm trying to
It's
tell you,
rather the people who are take up arms over there
just
against
one
the
point,
Indians,
and
Indian nation. That is a
we get
problem.
one
Okay.
point.
Okay, let him
That is a
finish.
I
problem,
think
and
we
I am
need
highlighting
a
the problem.
tiebreaker, Raghav. Right? Somebody
okay.
wants to
Let me
speak.
close with one
Okay.
point and
Okay,
I'll
let's
speak.
do this. Let's do this. Let me establish the context here, because like I don't want this to delve into this kind of like a heated NDTV kind of
No,
debate. Okay,
not at all. Not at all.
okay. Wait, let me establish the rules here. Okay, I want both of you guys to get to a certain I don't want you to say that you have to agree with each other. I'm just saying that let's be civilized about it. Let's not get too passionate and get make the other person feel like they're being disrespected or something like that. And that's one thing. And because the whole point of this community is to ensure that there is a safe space for everybody to come in and express themselves regardless of their point of view. That is the whole point of the debate club. So I want to make sure that there is that kind of like an environment where everybody feels respected. So I want the conversation to go in a direction where Samath feels like he's not being targeted for his views or something like that, because he expressed that. He said that he's being name called for his views. So I want to make sure that is not an environment where we are support, encouraging that. So let's also, another thing is let's make sure that one person speaks at a time. So
I'll just do one conclusion. I won't put forth more. See, first and foremost, if there's a name calling that has happened from my side, I would like to hear it in the recording once it comes. And even if it is there or if it is not there, both ways, I'm apologetic. I did act up a little bit, okay, but my intention was, the only intention I had is, you don't push our already sensitive direction place, and where there is a lot of communal tension, and the way out of it is always and will always be the best tried and tested method is not involving a third person, what you say, judgment and deciding who is right and who is wrong. Okay, what happens is, if a community, even lesser in number right now in Kashmir, is living there peacefully, so rather than saying you are against them, they did this to you, now it should be, no, they are brothers, they have been there from ages. It was just a little mishap that Pakistan did, and these people should live together as they used to. And that is the healthy outcome is what I wanted. So rather than pushing one community against another community, saying this did wrong to this and this is happening, and the other community has 1,000 things to say, this community has 1,000,000,000 things to say, then sitting like a judge of a Supreme Court and passing verdicts is even going to create a situation even more worse. And we already have faced a lot. We have lost a lot of youth. We have lost a lot of soldiers. We have lost a lot of resources and money in keeping that place cool. And we're very happy right now that around 1.5 crore, 1.6 crore people are visiting Kashmir and having fun, and all these selfies and beauty that is coming out. We want that to happen in continuity now. So whatever has happened, I'm not saying bury the hatchet. History, better to remember, but to forgive. I'm not saying forgive and forget. You forgive, don't forget. Okay, but keep it to go ahead is You cannot take a community of 1 crore people and start pushing them in the direction where your whole forces and your whole government and mechanism and money is trying to get them out of, by saying they did the ethnic cleansing and they're removing these people out. That targeting even created worse. That's it. I rest my point.
Okay, just to summarize, I think I get you what you're saying. What you're saying is that let's we sort of like understand what happened. Let's not like point fingers at a certain community to sort of like add fuel to the fire, which is kind of like it's already a sensitive issue. So let's not speak in a way that is targeted to a certain community so that like peace can ensue. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yes, exactly. That is what I'm saying.
So Samat, like, I want to hear from you, because like I don't think that Samat said anything to sort of like add that kind of a fuel to the fire.
I have something to.
Okay, Saju, you
first,
want to
I'd
unmute
like to
yourself?
speak.
Yes, let Samat speak, because I feel like he's been cut off a lot in the past few minutes. So let him speak, let him make his case, and then maybe Saju, you can go ahead.
I appreciate the sentiment from Raghav, like how he stressed that this harmonious environment is created so that the discussion can move forward. But it sometimes so happens that the situation is that, and the parties involved and their views, they are so that any sort of like fruitful discussion, it cannot happen. And when I see this kind of like intransigence and these double standards going on, whereas where the speaker, like, he was like happy to bring out this example and that example, by which he was trying to establish, the implication was that it was systematic. When that gang rape happened or this murder happened, the implication all of that being that systematic, when I just pointed out that this one clear-cut instance of this systematic thing that is happening, it was like quite unfortunate to see like how the double standards and the knee-jerk reaction, it just showed up. The very sort of argumentation, I took it to the argumentation that I was being presented. I took it to the most like clear-cut example here. There cannot be any more clear-cut example than an entire group of people just being driven out of the state. And when I said that, maybe it's not just the government scare tactic. Maybe there is like under the surface, there is something systematic going upon. All of this name calling and knee-jerk reaction, and still the intransigence and the the inability or the unwillingness to look into any of the deeper causes, that is like clearly there. So when this is the case, well, I do not care if the discussion progresses or some consensus is reached or some harmonious environment is created, when that involves like just burying your head under the sand. Okay.
I can't hold it, yeah. Come on, man. What does it mean? It is
Okay,
not
can I speak?
harmony is not going to reach, and there is going to be problem only. And how we need to how deep do you want to dig more than 30 years? And what are you trying? The person is wrong, the other community is wrong, and you should accept that. And what will you do? You'll kill 1 crore people.
HP bro, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So when I bring up any instance of this systematic example going on, so what I mean that, so it is always the case that I am advocating for the with the class that is creating this kind of oppression, they're being wiped out. So if I argue for if a point of the instance say that this Dalit person over there, he's being like systematically oppressed, so am I arguing for the person doing the oppressing, for this entire group being like wiped out? I'm arguing for that one.
Are you saying there is still ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits happening in Kashmir then? That means that it's still going on. It wasn't not in the past, it's happening right now?
HP.
Well,
I guess what issue has happened is... Yeah, what issue I think has happened is the point that you put forth regarding the certain governor. I won't name someone. There is a right-wing governor. That point was not able to, go through. Samarth, I'll really recommend you a book by an ex-Raw Chief GBS Sindhu, the Khalistan conspiracy, and that will really move your heart by how the government kind of uses our emotions to create instability just for mere votes and power. And I'm sorry, I'm not name calling you. I'm being very respectful
Right,
because
but I'm with you. That is exactly what I'm saying. Government. Anyways, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, and believe me, I've lost a brotherly friend to that war, and that is like nothing. I'm sure the whole nation cried that day because he was such a talent. I don't think we want such kind of things to happen. That's why I avoid talking about Kashmir because believe me, my friend Samarth, this is the thing that the people out in front of our border would want. They want us to equate the Kashmiri Muslims to, let's say, some terrorists. That is.
I think Prince dropped off for some reason.
Voice is breaking. He was making a very important point.
Yeah, I think Prince made an excellent point, and that is wrong with the world today, right? The Gaza war, for I think the kidnapping of some 10, 15 hostages, they have just boiled the ocean for the whole Gaza, and everybody's okay, seems to be okay with it, right? Same thing happened in 2002 riots. One awkward or mentally deranged fellow threw some stones on the train, and the whole community was burnt. And I was there, physically present there, and I'm telling you, it doesn't happen by its own. There was
So, okay.
a clear
Sorry, network.
agenda.
I think I see the point that Prince, Saju, and HP are all making, which is that let's not take instances and then make inflammatory comments on one community, because this kind of like fuels the the fire, and it kind of like creates a further divide that actually warrants that kind of a fire, right? It's like a vicious cycle that you
Why don't we
through.
go ahead and apply that same standard to all of the examples that have been presented so far in this debate? When all of the speakers, they brought up
I have not
examples of
presented my
so many
example.
religious
I
Saju,
would like to present
please
my
let him
example.
speak.
communities. Them being when all of the speakers so far, they brought out like dozens of examples in the whole of this debate of the marginalized communities being oppressed, and then arguing for there are some. It's not just like subjective reasons, but there is something systematic going on, meaning there is some discrimination that is like ubiquitous and happening on a regular basis, and that has, for some reason or the other, that kind of psychology has been deeply imprinted in the people, causing the oppression. I think that was the kind of that was the argument that was made throughout, and many examples were brought out to support that kind of an argument. But when I brought an example that was somehow like inflammatory, it suddenly became inflammatory all of a sudden. Example that I brought when so you can see the clear double standard that is happening over here. In all of the other cases, these speakers are so broad-minded to explore the reasons under the hood, the reasons under the surface, right? But in this case, it's just, well, how dare you? And if you even think of like suspecting that there is something deeper going on here, you're calling basically the whole of that community, the whole of a given community, as being like totally involved, 100% totally involved in the ethnic cleansing, which I actually never did. Okay.
Yeah, I think there
Of
was some kind
arguments,
of
the
like a
same kind of
misinterpretation as
rationale.
well. Yeah.
I am using the
Where did
same
I
thing.
put double
But
standard?
then I brought up this example, all of this, like
what
inferring me and calling me names and inferring
keeping
that
aside,
I have views that I do not hold.
Where
That
did
is the
I
important thing. Inferring that I have views that I do not hold, is what happened.
No, listen. When Kashmiri Pandits came up, the first point I made was they were thrown out of their houses, and the point is they have sacrificed a lot, they have faced a lot, and they got the reservation. And in fact, the point came out of that point only, because when you said we were talking about reservation, when I was trying to make my point on Kashmiri Pandits only, that they needed that. They didn't have house, they didn't have anything, and they have been supported by government very well. And that was where I was trying to make my point that reservations are important. And actually, I am not with one community and not against another community. They're both equal to me. What I would like to go with is the previous speaker, Saju, and everybody said, even Raghav said, that we need to, there's a lot of divide that has already happened. Okay. And we need to forego it. It has been 3 years that has happened. And once it all has
No,
happened.
I did not say that. I did not say we have to forego it.
No, forgo as in I'm saying it, keeping the word, okay, theek hai. Maybe I took it from Prince's point or somebody else's or Raghav's point, but let me rephrase it. We already have had a lot of divide. We already have been through a lot of chaos, and we are done with it. We need to move ahead now, getting out of these communities and these issues. The better way is, if somebody is persecuted, if somebody is weaker, if somebody is poor, is from a lower caste, or any way that person is facing some kind of war, that person needs to be supported, whether by financial support, whether by reservations, whether by keeping, be it other gender also, anyone needs support. But if the other person is creating the atrocity, maybe I did mention, and that Kathua murder case, because I was going with because I didn't want to be wrong, so I read what was as per the Wikipedia. I didn't want to mistake it, because that's what happens, you go out of context. So I read it as it was said and mentioned, and I started with my comment by saying that I don't want to be wrong with it, and I'm just reading it. That the community, prevalent Brahmin community, I didn't say Brahmin community, I think there was Dogra community mentioned. Whatever I read, it is as per Wikipedia, not my own personal opinion. But my personal opinion is, no left, no right, no Hindu, no Muslim, no upper caste, lower caste should exist in this country. We should reach to a point in the next 20, 30 years that where everybody is equal. There is no reservation, and there is no caste or religious biased these differences. And to reach there, we need to be together. We don't need to hit a community and promote another community. We need to keep all of them as brothers. One can be different, other can be different, and they can have animosities. We need to encourage peace. We don't need to encourage name calling. We don't need to encourage or target a community. We need to keep a blanket over what somebody has done wrong. If somebody has done something heinous, we don't need to forego that. That person needs to be tasked well, should be properly by ways of law prosecuted and given the harshest punishment, so that other people don't do it. But
Okay,
once it has
HP, I wanna maybe address one issue that Samarth brought up, which was the fact about the double standards, right? I want to kind of clarify what he was trying to say. Like, because like you are saying that that you are like that it doesn't matter what the community. I think everybody here understands the sentiment that that the right way forward is to have peace and everything. That's all fine. But I think the initial
I
point
agree
when
to it, but the method is I don't agree.
Sanju, please don't interrupt people when they're speaking. Let them finish, and then you can talk. But so when Samarth was saying that like that this thing happened and a certain community was involved, I think there was an immediate knee-jerk reaction, like we agree what happened is that so the point that Samarth was trying to make is that there is a double standard in terms of like when you're pointing to these Hindu crime, like Hindus committing a certain crime, that is okay to speak about, and that nobody raised a concern about that. But then when the Muslims were the perpetrators and that was being spoken about, there is suddenly this sentiment that why are you throwing fuel in the fire, kind of a sentiment.
Yeah, I'll address that. I also said with the joke that I quoted Abhishek Abhimanyu, where we were talking about black and white. I said he went to police station and said कि सर इसने मुझे काला कहा, पुलिस वाले ने बोला कि तू काला है, ठीक है, और भाग यहाँ से. So what I was trying to do from the start is whatever is actually happening wrong at a major scale, okay, on a very big number. So what I am concentrating out is 10,000 crimes or 20,000 crimes against 50 crimes. So I'm not saying 50 are not wrong. I'm not saying that hasn't happened. I'm not saying that should not be supported. If there are crimes, there are many crimes where Dalits kill upper top these Brahmins. That is a crime that should happen. The proper whatever line of action or harshest punishment that should happen. But what I'm saying is, on a debate point, when we talk about whole country and whole situations, my knee-jerk reaction for Kashmir came out only because it's extremely sensitive. and it is ongoing fight right now. It hasn't happened. So if a normal Kashmiri listens to this somewhere and then sees, yaar, har jagah, har point, every place I am the wrong terrorist. I don't have a sutli bomb in my house, and these people will fare like from a kilometer watching me. And that person, that is a good amount of, like, recent Riyasi attacks that happened on Amarnath, which was done by Pakistan infiltrators. But then again, the whole kind of that shenanigan, everything that evilifies a community, in a longer run is going to create more chaos for the whole country. Where more money is going to push in more. So that is a sensitive place, and I've just pointed my point only because the situation is getting better there since 2019, and I just don't want a nazar lag jati na kisi cheez ko. I don't want that evil eye to fall on it, and it's happening. Good, let it be now. Let it. Everybody who is there, Yasin Malik is in jail. Afzal Guru was hanged. Some 50,000-60,000 Kashmiri terrorists are still rotting in Tihad. Let them die there. Let it happen. Let that whoever was there has been prosecuted. If there is somebody, Samarpos or anybody knows, is still out there, and just get them, gun him down. But if it is going in peaceful way, let it be now. With a lot of propaganda movies and everything against the community has happened, it is very difficult to create peace and that. I have a very good understanding of that situation. I've read it because it's a very politically challenging place to be, and so everybody has one opinion about it. My opinion is, let it go. 30 years is too much. We have lost a lot.
Okay, Saju, you had a point to make. Please continue.
See, I usually make very short points, okay? So please allow me. So in 1947, there was this psychiatrist, scientist, and philosopher who conducted an experiment by taking young kids from the same neighborhood in Germany or some other, or America, I'm not very clear, and took them to a camp. And in that camp, or picnic, you may call it, he divided the young kids who are friends among themselves into two groups and gave them two different clothes, colored clothes to wear, and two different names. By the end of 1 month that the kids were there in the camp, the group started fighting among each other. There were spy networks formed within the groups. There were stone throwing happening. Two kids were severely injured, and there were clear cases of discrimination for one colored people to the other colored people, and they had started their own social systems and and they have their own flags, two different flags. So meaning to say, discrimination is a very bad case that starts from differentiation, which is built into the nature of human beings. You cannot do away with it, HP and Samarth and everybody. It will be there. But the way to deal with it is to have a different social initiative and right thinking people to act. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think Prince and Gomateshwari are also raising their hand. Samarth, but I want to stop it to see, like, Samarth, do you have any other points? Do you feel like there's been a resolution for this misunderstanding, or do you still feel like you've been unfairly targeted or something like that?
I do think I was unfairly targeted, and I won't speak more about this one except to say that I know clearly what the words that were spoken by me, and the other speaker, like, he knows clearly. And if there is any doubt, the recording is there, and I would suggest for everyone to go through what the exact spoken words were. And in fact, if double standards were applied, and in fact there was knee-jerk reactions and name calling, it did happen, I would let it for the the individuals to just to go through the recording again and to judge for themselves what was spoken, what was not spoken, and what was the behavior from each of the participants. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
What was the time period of the recording?
I mean, we'll have a look at that. Maybe we can have a conversation in the comments of the YouTube video itself, because, like, I think there we can add the timestamp and then discuss, like, when what happened, and maybe because I personally I was here the whole time, and I just don't think that I think there was a fundamental misunderstanding somewhere. I don't think that anybody here is like maliciously targeting somebody. I just think that there was a certain misunderstanding. We can go through that and resolve that. But I think Prince and Gomatishwari, you guys have some points. Let's. Maybe.
If I may, I have
Yeah,
no
go ahead.
points. I just want to say that if in any way or any form I was disrespectful or I kind of course we have different opinions. Everybody does, but if I was disrespectful of your opinion, then I'm really sorry. I really didn't mean to do that, and yeah,
Okay.
Raghav, please.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I think all of us here appreciate the fact that we're able to come here and have this conversation because this never happens, guys. This is the whole reason why this whole debate club exists. Is that so that we can bring together people with contentious opinions to come and talk about sensitive topics in a civilized manner where we're all getting educated. That is my dream with this debate club, right? So I really want to make sure that these kind of things are like the misunderstandings that we generally have, like where we're passionate about things and we misconstrue things. Those things like we're getting better at. So if you have any suggestions for this, like please, like let's have a conversation in the Vivada section of the debate club WhatsApp group. And another thing I want to propose is like, what do you guys think about the fact that let's have a separate session on Wednesday where we talk about like the whole Kashmir issue, because there was some issues here. I don't know if there is enough room for this where we can have a targeted conversation about the Kashmir issue. And I would love for you guys to like propose a topic on this so that like we can have a civilized debate about this where everything that is like, because the whole point is to talk about this in on sensitive topics. I don't want to like, get into this habit of like side sensitive things because like they're sensitive, let's not talk about it. That should not be the approach. When you have a society, is more important that everybody gets to speak their mind in a respectful and safe environment. That's how you progress the narrative. So I would love to have that conversation, but I would love to hear suggestions on what kind of a topic we can have from both Samat and HP or whoever else has some ideas. You guys can suggest it in the WhatsApp group. But yeah, Gomatishwari, I think Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the
Sanju, go
Kashmir
ahead.
topic needs a lot of research.
Yeah, I think there is enough motivation here for people to conduct that research in the next couple of days. Like on Wednesday we'll have the session. I think that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Does anybody feel like that's a bad idea, or I want to hear thoughts?
I would actually like to be part of. I stand for the cause. I want as many people, more people have knowledge about something. More you talk about something, it gets more cleared out. Better. I think it's better if everybody agrees. I'm with you.
Perfect.
And also,
maybe
why don't we? Yeah, Raghav, why don't we make it a research? Research.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is now after this call, like I'm gonna post like a document where people can go and add their own point, because HP said that he's done a lot of research and Samat said he's gonna do some research. Let's all put everything in one document. This won't be like the fact sheet will not be prepared by me. I think all of us can contribute to that, and we can add all kinds of information where we can gather the facts to present the different use cases, different points. How does that sound?
Yeah, better.
And Samat, how do you feel about this? Would you like to be part of this? Yeah.
It's good that you have taken the initiative to come up with that fact sheet, but I don't know like how much of a contribution I can make given my work schedule, and also there are all of these things also. So it's good that you've taken the initiative, and I wish you all the best for that one, but I'm not sure how much I can contribute. I'll try my best.
Okay, but it'd be good if you can join the Wednesday session at 7 p.m.
Can you give me a second with Samat, please?
Sure. I'll at least try and make time for that one. Yeah.
Sure.
Samat, listen, and one more thing. See, we don't know each other. There is no bias or this. This is just a normal debate, and sometimes maybe some things. Unfortunately, if I have been uncivil or in any way I have hurted you, I'm deeply. I'm extremely sorry, and maybe I did. I myself accepted that there was a knee-jerk reaction, and there are some places where you can get sensitive. Unfortunately, this should not happen in a professional platform, and I'm very happy that we still could hear each other and we still have different opinions. I think you have a different opinion, I have a different opinion. I'm not saying I don't respect your opinion. I'm sticking to mine, But then again, I think this is a constructive place, and you can say anything. And maybe let's say, be a little bit cautious next time. Let's not, maybe if it's getting personal, then it gets wrong. So maybe I will also ponder upon this, and I will see where whatever the recording comes out or YouTube points, and maybe there I'll just ponder about what I said. So if there is something directly hurting or attacking you, it is not meant to be against you. The only thing I was against was the opinion, and I try to justify my opinion. That's it. There's no personal or no nothing. I have enjoyed you speaking last, I think, we were discussing about gay marriages also. And after that, there was one, I think, Wednesday I was hosting, and you contributed something, and I was on point with your opinion. I still remember that mid section. I don't remember what was happening that time, the comment exactly. But this time, if I have been against it, doesn't mean that I have to be. This is a simple, specific opinion that I might have been against. Otherwise, I don't have any problem. What you speak and what you say, I mostly agree. Okay, so no personal these. What you say. In addition, I have already apologized. So again, sorry, huh? Thank you.
Okay, so that is fine. So it's just better, as you said, to just keep with the conversation and just stick to the arguments and not get in the personal stuff, as you said. So
Right.
I think it's better for everyone that way, and we'll try to stick to that one.
Where I come from, when they say we start on a harsh foot, na, you're the best of the friends. Okay, so that's not a problem. These things happen, keep coming and going. So as the community grows and as we stay together and as we know each other more, I think these are things in past. Get buried in the hatch. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah, and on a personal note, I just feel like there was no malicious intention on anybody here. I think there must have been a misunderstanding of some kind. But yeah, we'll watch the recording and we'll figure out what happened. But I think Gomatishwari, you've been raising your hand for a while. I just want to make sure we hear what you have to say.
So yeah, someone said about a psychiatric experiment that the kids were, the kids displayed some kind of a behavior which was part of the nature. Actually, in psychology, there's a principle called learning. Like in behaviorism, there's a principle called observational learning, which is to observe the society or the people from a social circle and then adapt those qualities or adopt those behavior. So that is what I'm saying. When it comes to these kinds of fights due to international like differences or any other differences, kids, even they learn from the people those are around them psychologically. So there are people those who are united as well, despite they have differences with regards to their religion or caste, and there are people those who fight as well because of the differences. So as someone mentioned about that experiment, psychiatric experiment, it starts right from a childhood itself. So right from a childhood, it's about the learning which we acquire due to the observation as well. So even the children should be taught to be united though there are differences. So it's that subjective perspective. So
Actually,
only
you know what? Sorry, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I think they should be educated and taught about being unified though having differences.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So I want to add some points to what Saju was talking about. So because like the reason why Saju brought up that was because I know about the experiment, and actually the whole point of the experiment was to prove that discrimination does not need to have any kind of a real basis. Like it's not like the color of your skin or something, like something as tangible as that.
Exactly.
They were just given like a different color clothes. Okay, this like red team, blue team. It made no sense. There was no like foundational basis for that discrimination. It was just something randomly assigned. People were not chosen on a basis of like who's red, who's tall, who's short, nothing like that. It's just a randomized group of people given this like red and blue colors, and then they started noticing that they had a certain identification with that group. So they identified with that group, and then they started, like collaborating, and then like plotting against the other group. Things like these kind of started happening, and you can see these kinds of behaviors happening across groups, across nations, across colors, across races, across religions, happening all the time. So I think the point that Saju was trying to make with that example was the fact that discrimination is kind of arbitrary. It is basically just like something that's arbitrary, and then we attach these labels to these distinguishing factors, and then we become, like we are very entrenched in that, because I think the point of the whole experiment was to like prompt a certain level of self reflection, saying that okay, the differences are all like like superficial in our minds, so we need to go beyond that. So I think that was I'm Saju, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Like I think that's what you were trying to say, right?
Yes. I mean, it is there in the human, our human brain. If you consider that as an advanced version of a bunch of neurons, like billions of neurons, right? An AI computer has got probably a few thousand or 1 million neurons, and a human brain has got 1 billion neurons. And they have this behavior that is ingrained, that is there in any group of animals. It is there in ants. It has been seen in ants. It has been seen in any social gathering of animals. You cannot escape from it, HP. So you may have a wishful thinking that everybody should stay peacefully together, but it will not happen like that. You cannot force it on them. The way the German government adopted, which is to openly talk about the genocide in Germany, right? That is how acceptance grew in Germany.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Can I add a
Force-
point?
but I think the point is there. People have differences, and with time, we can only do is we can try to live together. That's it. And I don't think once after a certain point, even these extreme right and extreme left people, they sit together, drink together, do business together. It's just for the people, and it's just for the community. Some people get benefited, and segregation happens. Nobody is actually that biased down there. If you go to the last level, they don't even know. They just follow somebody.
no,
Just
actually,
adding to, yes, sorry, Raghav.
no, there's actually one interesting phenomenon. Guys. Like actually, one of the reasons why I started the debate club is that there is a lot of there is a thing called the echo chamber effect, right? Where like people who gather together, they agree to each other, right? They will start talking about the other group, whichever group it is. They'll start talking about the other group, and it automatically amplifies their biases, which is the reason why the debate club is really interesting as a project, because like we are trying to bring together people of the opposing viewpoints so that like we can collide them before they can grow larger and larger. If you keep them separate, right, they'll keep growing larger and larger and larger. And after a certain point, if they collide at that point, right, it's going to result in bloodbath. But if you keep colliding them till they get a certain point of maturity, right? It doesn't result in bloodbath. Maybe like we'll have like mild disagreements, but that is much healthier, and it'll normalize the population more than letting it grow into these echo chambers. So that is probably my biggest takeaway from this call, is that we're all gathered together as like civilized people with like very opinionated perspectives, but still we can all engage in that, and I'm really looking forward to see this grow. I want to see like how we can scale this up. So there's a lot of excitement in my mind when I see this kind of passionate debates going on, and we're actually trying to normalize the
Can I
conversation.
interject?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
See, when HP was talking, right, he very subconsciously or without his own knowledge, he inserted a solution to the problem by himself, which is to have peace over there, which is to, after so many 30 years, we got peace, right? And that is actually the problem. That suppose, Raghav, we are holding this debate, a 24, 48-hour live debate on TV with all the leaders, and let all the poison come out now, right? Everything. See, the problem in communities that happened in Gujarat also was that they were in their own echo chambers, right? And the stone that created the 2002 riots was just a trigger. The difference in the community was already there. The Muslims will never stay with the Gujarati Patels. The Hindus will never stay in the same area,
Right.
right? They were
And also, yeah.
segregated before it happened.
Yeah, there's another interesting phenomenon that's been happening in the recent past, which is the social media. Like social media is actually accelerating this echo chamber effect because people go to those, people subscribe to those WhatsApp communities that are aligned with their political ideology. People are subscribed to those Reddits. If you go to Reddit, right, like you'll see a lot of communities that are very, very politically aligned. Only those people will be able to comment and have a good time there. So they'll all
In
go
fact,
there.
I would say to this extent, Raghav, a person like HP and a person like Samar will only come in your space.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can never find an HP and Samar together in all these echo chambers.
Exactly. They'll all be go complaining in their own echo chambers about the other person. I've seen this
Yeah,
happen
and they
so
will
many
be
times.
they
Yeah.
will be trying to defeat each other. That my argument
Exactly.
is better, your argument is
Exactly. Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't help.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've gone on for like a couple of 2.5 hours now, and this is the first time we've gone to this extent, and I'm really happy that we are kind of like it's like a recent development, I would say. Like things have not gotten this passionate and this heated.
I want to add something more. Is it okay?
Sure. Yeah.
See, there is a term called toxic positivity. Okay, that is like even if things are negative in society, we just ignore everything because we don't want to be we don't want to talk about it and create tensions. Okay,
Yeah.
then it becomes so bad after some point that people start suffocating, and that is when things go really bad. Right, so it is necessary that
Absolutely.
people must open their minds.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think even if you consider like a married couple, right, if they're not okay with like small disagreements, right, the kind of animosity will grow within them, even if they're not expressing that. So I definitely see the value in this kind of an expression, and I agree with what you said about the toxic positivity, right? Positivity is not the end goal. I think the end goal is like honest conversation. That's when you actually grow in like a positive relationship with anybody.
Yeah,
So,
honesty is the best policy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Prince, you want to say something before we close?
Yeah. So before we end this, I'm not an advocate for HP. In fact, I'm just the opposite. In most of the debates, I and HP have been on the opposite spectrum of things. But we have seen Samath and HP so much in so many of debates. So I guess all of us can advocate that neither HP nor Samath wants to, disrespect anyone. And if anything
absolutely,
has
man. I
happened,
mean,
then,
I think honestly, everybody here is super mature. I was talking to another friend of mine yesterday, and I was telling them, he was telling me that, people will get like really, they'll try to like, feed their own ego with these debates. But I said that, like, you know what? I've never seen that happen. I feel like all the people coming here, these are like organic people who are like, they're trying to like have a mature conversation. They're trying to engage intellectually. So I've never seen that happen so far, but I'm pretty sure like moving forward, we'll have like more and more people coming in. There will be some kind of tension. So it is good that we are seeing early, like, like instances of this and how we can resolve it. Because as a community, we are very nascent. So it's good to see, these kind of things happen early on as well. But, before we close, right, I wanna like, maybe get some suggestions on what kind of a topic we can have for the Wednesday session. So definitely, please suggest the topic, either if you have it in mind right now or in the WhatsApp group. So that like we can set it up early on so that we can get as many people as possible for that as well. But Satu, do you have anything else? I think you raised your hand just now.
Of course, my favorite is always reservation, but yeah, Kashmir is interesting.
Yeah, let's talk about, no, I'm saying like regarding this Kashmir topic, right? Like we should have a specific topic statement because like it's a very contentious topic. So let's have a very, very specific topic statement. Maybe we can this can be the first time where we have like a formal debate structure where we can have like two different sides and people can come in and represent that side. So for that to happen, we need to have a very specific topic statement.
Yeah.
No,
So
okay. Let me rephrase. What I mean is, let's make the Wednesday session as a presentation of research instead of discussion, and do the discussion later.
But I think as part of the presentation, what you're going to be doing is you will be using research, right?
You can't research while you are debating or discussing,
Okay.
but to be, as you said, it should be specific. So you can't, Kashmir can be confusing. So you can either have Kashmir after 370, that is Article 2000, after 2019, that was removed from Kashmir. You can have that. You can go to same Kashmiri Pandits Exodus and current and now. Then again, that is there. You can talk about the other community that is living there. That is there. You can.
Okay.
There are many
I
things.
have an idea. So let's do this. Like let's say that the topic statement is the Kashmir Pandit Exodus was not a religiously motivated event. How's that? Because
That is
I think that was
standard, because Kashmiri exodus that happened, Kashmiri, that was a religion. However, I am going to promote it should not be talked about much. But then again, I stand here with somewhat said at start ethnic cleansing by other community, you can say, but it was a targeting. There were terrorists coming from Pakistan, and there was anti-Kashmiri Pandit sloganing happening because they wanted them to go. Okay, so that nobody is going to say no, it was not ethnic cleansing. Then again, then you have to talk about some things that are very uncomfortable. You can't talk about intelligence, and we can't talk about, like I started to spoke about Jagmohan and the raw and other things that happened that time. Those are not very tidy. They're very untidy and acts that happened. So it will just bring out more ugly stuff, I think. But then again, it's a good topic, and people, it's a sensitive topic again, and it might be very interesting for people to talk about. So
we need to have a specific thing, but maybe somebody can think of it and post it in the WhatsApp group, and we'll schedule the session soon.
Yeah, a little bit of research on it would be good, but then if we are going to go specifically about Kashmiri Pandits, we can see their current situation, what they're doing now. Are they better, or are they given what they were promised?
Okay, let's talk. Maybe let's talk about like the whether the Article 370 abrogation was beneficial or not.
I don't think anybody will go against it, so it won't.
Okay.
Amount of traction.
I think the question should be, was Article 370 the right thing to do, or something like that?
That's what I said. Yeah.
That can be very can have many opinions. But then again, I'm not putting in my opinion right now before the debate, but there will be that is Article 370 to us. But that time it was Article of Accession. Okay, so it was on terms which Kashmir was united with India. We were not fighting for it. It was already left allowed, and our forces went there to the king. And then
perhaps HP, you can give a slight background for a minute and then speak the whole thing.
So the Article of Accession was where the Kashmiri Maharaja, the Karan Singh's father, was feeling threatened by Kabalis from Pakistan, and once they were coming in, so he wasn't going to merge it with India or with Pakistan. He wanted his rule to continue. But what happened is, once he thought there's a Muslim population and Kabalis are coming, and that means Kashmir is going to go with Pakistan now. So I won't be able to rule there, and I will be thrown out. So he asked Nehru to help, and then Nehru had flown in some army, these 2 jets with some 200, 300 armed forces. And but again, the Kashmiri Muslims and Kashmiri Hindus, those people took whatever they had in their houses, lathi, danda, whatever they had, and they fought Kabalis and threw them out. And the upper part of Poonch, that is what they call Pakistan occupied Kashmir, or Azad Kashmir they call it in Pakistan, that is with them since then. So Article of Accession was right to do or wrong to do. There's no debate to it. No, it was the only way we could have aligned Kashmir with us.
You should say why. You should speak why it was the only way.
Because that is how we signed it. We were not claiming Kashmir. If you remember or know, we did not have Kashmir.
So you have to give the whole history. Only then people will identify. You are like gulping down. You are skipping a lot of things.
You know what?
It's a huge topic.
Article of Accession was formed. So the Maharaja did the Article of Accession, called it Article 370 and Sub-Article 371 A and B. At that time, it was said they will have Indian forces here. They will get security from India. Then it got slowly amended. Start mein, it was like Kashmir will have its own flag, its own constitution. It is a separate country, like a country in a country, that kind of format, and king will still be there. And slowly, as the democracy started flourishing and articles started weakening, so it got diminished, and then it was registered in United Nations that there will be a plebiscite. People will decide whether they want to go with Pakistan or India, or they will form a different country. And it was the major reason for 90s and all those protests and everything that has happened in Kashmir. The background was that is the only unfortunate mistake that we did, where we somewhere promised or said, we will see, we will do it, and we accepted it in front of UN. And those Pakistanis made that a point. If it was done back in the day, so Kashmiris would have voted to stay with India because they themselves fought Kabalis. What happened was the Kabalis came, they started raping people around Baramulla, Kupwara area of Kashmir North. And Kashmiris, actually, there was an anti-Pakistan resentment, anger that time. And they fought them and threw them out. And that time, if they would have done the plebiscite, everybody would have gone here. And people were in support. They were international tournaments, movies, and everything was shot in Kashmir in 70s and 80s. The whole Bollywood we see 80s and 70s ka, it's all from Kashmir. But what happens now is the Pakistans, especially under the Benazir Bhutto, Bilawal Bhutto's mother, who was assassinated, she, after knowing the 1987 elections were rigged by Abdullahs, the National Conference leaders here, and the turmoil started, and she started sending in terrorists and with guns and all that, and financial support, and things went haywire after that. So article of accession, was it necessary or was it not necessary? We cannot debate, because that was the only way we could get officially Kashmir in our constitution and legally with us. So that is called article of accession. The accession happened because of that article, that paper. So if it was not there, then there is no accession only. Because we do not claim, the first Mountbatten and the Viceroy, that whole territory at the time of partition did not include Kashmir. So accession is the only way it got along. We got Kashmir.
Okay. Actually, thanks a lot for the points. I do want to close the session soon, but I want to I have an idea from what you just said, right? I think the point of contention that happened right today was not maybe specific to Kashmir itself, but there was this kind of a religious angle to this. For example, when the cases were made against Hindu oppression, there was no points made. But then when the cases, when points were raised against Muslim initiated atrocities or something like that, there was a point of contention there. So maybe we can have a topic related. It's a broader topic, not related to Kashmir in specific, but we can have a topic in saying that Muslim perpetrated cases.
I'll like to make a point here. What happens is, in any other region in India other than Kashmir, if there is a communal violence or hatred, so communities come and riots happen. Okay, Kashmir is not communal. Okay, there is no what happened back then was forced by Pakistan. Nothing like that has ever happened in that place. So to give you a good example, last 3 days ago, if you go and check the news, there was a Muslim shrine somewhere in Srinagar that was burnt. Okay, and it caught fire or something. And 7 days before, there is this temple called Rani Mandir, which is a Shiv temple in Gulmarg, that got burnt. Both are separate incidents, but imagine this happening in any state of India where a temple gets burnt and after 5 or 6 days a Muslim shrine gets burnt. And imagine what kind of riots will happen. And there's no news, no Kashmiri is getting on street, nobody is fighting. A mosque got burned and a temple got burned and nobody is giving a shit. So there is no communal, as far as communal violence is concerned. You won't see Hindu happening in that area. So debating about that, I don't think is a good idea altogether. That isn't happening only, and why to debate about what happened in 90s? That was communal, and then you can make it Hindu versus Muslim that time. But then again, you don't have to make it Hindu versus Muslim. It will mostly be Pakistan versus India if you just go with the facts. Because everybody
I wasn't talking specifically in the Kashmir context. I was just saying generally because there is a certain phenomenon observed saying that, like, that when crimes are committed against the minorities, it becomes like a huge, like a news flash, But then when a certain crime is committed against the majority, then the religious angle is not invoked.
Yeah, something like that we can discuss about.
Yeah.
But then it can be generalized all over India if we can push something in that everybody. This might be very hard and people might need to research about it, and then if they put their facts wrong and anybody gets aggravated, so again we'll be in the same situation. So I think if more extensive research in comparison to what we're going to do in Kashmir, if we want to do something on a national scale, that is a fact that it happens. Many majority these base situations are undermined and not talked about much, because at the end TVs also don't get that much amount of TRB out of it. So maybe we can do that, I think.
Yeah. So we can talk about the media bias in reporting minority related events, something like that.
Minority, majority, anything. People can discuss both sides.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can say that there is a clear bias in media reporting involving minorities. Agree or disagree, something like that.
But then again, there will be many people who won't. I think the majority, the general consensus about media right now is that it's biased only. I think everybody, even BJP says it's biased, Congress says it's biased, everybody says it's biased. So then you can, I think the better version would be, is there actually undermining of majority events in comparison to minorities? If there is
something like that, where maybe the majority is being disadvantaged by this minority bias, the bias towards minority by the corporate media, something like that. We'll figure something out.
Yes.
But thanks a lot, guys. Like, this was wonderful. I think I do want to let everybody go and have their lunch or something. Thanks for joining. Let's connect on Wednesday again.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Perfect. Bye-bye.
Bye.
But by the way, I just needed to say something. Brian came thrice.
I know, yeah.
Then he went. He raised it. I think he's working and he wanted to contribute. Also, he's a Christian, so I think his opinion today would have been something more contributing. But let's say the next debate.
Yeah, maybe we'll ask him for his points on the chat or something.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.